Hi guys, this is KV from Ridezilla. I am an automobile enthusiast and I love everything on two wheels, four wheels, or anything that moves with an IC engine, of course. And you must have seen some of my videos in the past on this channel. They're just like first person shooting videos that I did. I'm just trying to share some of my tools with you, and then I moved on to discussing some of the aspects of my tools in the later videos. Uh, I am in the market currently for a superbike, and I have gone through a selection process for the superbike, and I would like to walk you through the entire process. What I've done is I have created a set of videos, a series of videos where I have test ridden each of those superbikes that I wanted to buy or that I evaluated to buy. And in that process, I actually rejected some of those and then also selected a few best ones that offered the best bang for the buck. And based on those decisions, I then went ahead and decided to buy my dream bike. Buying that dream bike is very important for me because I believe at my age I can do it, and it also makes sense to own one now and ride it to its fullest, or rather ride it to my fullest content. Over the next 5 or 10 years, and have fun with it. So I I always dreamt of having a parking full of vehicles, cars and motorcycles, both. Something like an Abarth Punto for a very fast-paced journey, high-seating SUV for touring with the family, and an off-roader like a Thar. And then also look at motorcycles like a classic like a Bonnie, a Triumph Bonnie, and then an inline four, and a trail bike or a off-roader motocross bike to go off-roading into some of the trails. Um, but you cannot have it all. You have to compromise and settle on a subset or settle on a few vehicles that you can afford. We compromise and then we call it a practical choice. So this is my process of uh, you know moving or removing certain vehicles from the list that I had made, and also shortlisting a few, and then selecting the one that gave me the most satisfaction and most pleasure when I test rode it. So I was in the market looking at the Ducati Hypermotard, the Ducati Scrambler, then the Triumph Tigers, the old used Tigers, the new ones, 850s and the 900s, as well as the Kawasaki's, the Suzuki V-Strom, the Versys 650s, and a host of other vehicles that I evaluated. I have created a series of videos in this where I test ride each of those vehicles and then talk about what I felt regarding those vehicles during that test ride. So I have given voiceover to that, and recorded that again in the first person view during that test ride. So this is also a conflict between the heart and the mind, basically trying to figure out which bike to buy. The heart says something and the brain says something else. I also need to convince my better half to go and buy a bike of this size. Uh, I think she's convinced, but let me figure that out, because this bike is really fast and more powerful than what the Interceptor is. So it's a serious concern. But anyways, that buying that super bike means a lot to me, and I will ensure that I buy the right bike, because putting in so much of your hard-earned money is not easy, and it should not be taken lightly. So I'm also of the opinion that we should evaluate used bikes or super bikes from the used motorcycle market, primarily because there are certain pros and cons. I'll talk about the pros first. You end up saving money because of depreciation. That is one. Second is, there are people who have bought that motorcycle thinking that it is the right choice for them, but then they want to get rid of it because after using it for some time they figure out that it's not the right motorcycle for them. So you will probably end up getting such samples which you love for lesser price because people just want to get rid of them. The third thing is accessories. So once people buy or satisfy their itch of buying the superbike, they'll spend some serious moolah on the accessories, and you will get those accessories along with the bike. And the fourth thing is there are some accessories that you won't need, so you will end up, you can actually sell those accessories off after you buy that bike. And there are people who want those, like, you know, exhaust, loud exhaust you don't need, you can sell them off. People have Yoshimuras or Acras and so on, and you can sell those off if you don't need those, or you know, taller windscreens or things like that, or panniers or set of panniers that you don't think are useful for you. So those are the pros. And then the cons are that after buying a superbike you might need to immediately spend on that motorcycle for tires. So if the tires are say 8, 9, 10,000 kilometers old and you would want to change those tires immediately, or battery, or we'll do a servicing of the bike for that matter. Those are the cons. Or even spend on insurance. So most of the bikes that are sold by agents have third-party insurance. They don't have comprehensive or zero damage insurance. So you might need to insure the bike again. The second con for buying a used bike is abuse. So you will not know how much that bike has been abused by the previous owner, especially the adventure tourers. If they've taken a fall, or there are some welds on the chassis, or the wiring has been changed or added or cut off during addition of the accessories, so you will not know that. So these are some of the cons. And then of course the servicing. So bikes which are used less or for lesser kilometers sometimes end up standing in the garage for longer durations, like 6 months, 8 months, and then people really, because they don't use them, they are really not serviced that regularly. People don't spend time or spend money on servicing those bikes. So just don't go for the used bike or less run tag. Ensure that the owner has actually used them in a nice way. They are pampered and they've been used properly. So these are the things that I have, but I also evaluated some of the new bikes, and then we'll talk about that in those particular videos when I test ride those new bikes that I shortlisted. So in this series, we'll just start with the next video. The first is the Street Triple 765 RS. It is my most favorite motorcycle, and I just wanted to test ride it. There was a used bike. I thank SBK World for providing me those test rides for the Street Triple and the Tiger 800 XRX. So those guys were really helpful. They called up and figured out that I need that bike, cleaned it up, and made it available for me to test ride. So thank that. And then also I would like to thank my friends Ankush, Yogesh, UV, and then Yogesh Mishra from Mechanics Motorrad, who keeps on doling out good advice, sensible advice, and saves me from a lot of heartburn. So these guys have helped me to come to a decision, come to a conclusion on which bike would make sense, economically, as well as from a cost of ownership perspective, and also from a longevity perspective, because it is not day in and day out that you change bikes or super bikes so regularly. So here goes. The next video talks about your Street Triple 765 RS test ride and what I think about the Street Triple. And you can actually jump to one of those videos if you want to specifically look at what I have to say about those bikes, those specific bikes. Thank you, and keep watching the next series of videos, and we'll meet soon. Jai Hind.